Doncaster posting pictures of Hitler saying I'm going to use a word, I can't read all of this out. And fascism arrives as your friend. It will restore your honour.
Is this fantastic LBC caller called John absolutely right about Nigel Farage? Now, this call was on Friday the 2nd of May, the day after the successful by-elections for Reform PLC, where James was basically asking, what's the fascination with people who hated what Margaret Thatcher did are now fans of Nigel Farage, who is a massive fan of Margaret Thatcher? Well, John's take was interesting.
I think, James, that the main reason is charisma. Because for Nigel Farage, he's able to say, oh, well, because look at me, I'm amazing, and Brexit didn't work out because I wasn't in charge and it's everyone else's fault. And he doesn't get challenged by the media, and that is the main issue. And unfortunately,
that's still true. You think that's still... Because, I mean, I know it was true for a long time, but you still don't think he gets properly interviewed by all the people, because he's never off the flipping screen, is he? Or he's never off the radio.
Well, he does by some people. So Sky News, I think, are really, really good. And obviously yourself.
I haven't seen him for 10 years, mate.
When they've questioned him, but whenever he gets those difficult questions, he's like, you're anti-reform, you're anti-this, anti-that, I'm not going to answer the question.
No. And he lies, of course, as well. I remember, I think it was Dimbleby that was pointing out that he'd said that Vladimir Putin was the politician he admired most in the world, and he tried to lie and claim that he hadn't said it. And of course, what's fascinating from a media point of view is that unless you've got the clip with you, he gets away with it.
Yeah, definitely. And I think he knows he can get away with it. I think people like Victoria Derbyshire are really good at knowing when she's got people like that and actually coming with the evidence.
Big fan of Victoria's. So you're describing you're describing a weapons grade lack of shame.
Exactly. He's not scared to pretend like nothing's his fault. And I think because people are so desperate and he's so likeable, no matter how much I dislike him or lots of other people.
Some people definitely like him. Yes.
Because of that, people are able to give him the benefit of the doubt and say, do you know what? He says what I think.
The woman that I've talked about a little bit too much in recent weeks, who I encountered when I was doing jury service, who passionately and definitely believed that Michelle Obama was a man and that all the money we've sent to Ukraine had been spent by Volodymyr Zelensky on yachts. She was adamant that Nigel would sort everything out when he got into power. So it's an interesting collection of beliefs. So that idea that you have to be in power. So we needed Brexit to happen before we could see what the reality of Brexit was. He manages to evade that by doing the shaggy bit and claiming it wasn't me. And if I'd been there is a brilliant Brexit, but it goes to a different school. I almost wish, and not all the results are in yet, of course, but I almost wish that they'd won a bit more. Yes, they got a couple of other mayoralties, maybe, so that we'd get a slightly better look at what happens when they are actually in charge. Maybe they'll win a couple of councils and we'll be able to see what actually happens. Because if you think about the party management at the national level, they've already lost one MP and they only had 5 to start with.
Exactly. I think the main benefit of him getting elected and Reform MPs or councillors being elected is people will be able to see what they're doing. So when they're bound by the same things that Labour, Conservative, Lib Dem, Green, SNP...
Yeah, but will they be?
Are bound by?
Because then we're back to Trump, aren't we? And the way that he is not responsible for anything that happens, either on his watch. If it's bad, he'll just deny that it's bad. And the earlier caller mentioned Hope Not Hate and the work that they've done in highlighting the views of some of the candidates that have been standing. He will claim, if anyone asks him about it, and of course there's no guarantee that they will, he will claim that it's nothing to do with him or that they're more, what's the word you want? One of their candidates in Doncaster posting pictures of Hitler saying I'm going to use a word, I can't read all of this out, a picture of Hitler and then a claim using lots of swear words that if he'd chosen Muslims, I guess brackets instead of Jews, close brackets, I would have been an effing legend, this man has posted, one of the group's candidates in Doncaster. not picked up by the vetting procedures. So you've got Nigel Farage leading a party where one of the candidates thinks that Hitler would have been an effing legend if the Holocaust had murdered Muslims instead of Jews. So what happens when someone asks him about that in a studio? He goes, oh, well, some will always slip through the net, or some will always get through it. There's various Andrew Tate and Tommy Robinson admirers. I mean, you can't really beat Hitler, can you, as someone you wouldn't want to be associated with? But that doesn't touch him either, and that's not charisma. And I don't believe people voting for him agree with that comment about Hitler and Muslims. So why does none of that touch him?
I think a lot of it is due to the desperation. Everyone is not in... They're looking for someone who can sort things out. And I think this is one of the problem with populists, is they will always say, I can sort these things out. I am a strong man. I'm your friend. I will deal with it. Exactly. And I think that's the main problem, is other parties are not dealing with that to say, if you do that, this is what will happen. So instead, he's able to say, just send people in boats back to France, it's fine. And people go, that's such a simple solution. Not the French will say, I don't think so.
No, well, fascism arrives as your friend. It will restore your honour, make you feel proud, protect your house, give you a job, clean up the neighbourhood, remind you of how great you once were. It's a wonderful poem by Michael Rosen, who's also featured on Full Disclosure, actually. I think I'll read that little bit again. Fascism arrives as your friend. It will restore your honour, make you feel proud, protect your house, give you a job, clean up the neighbourhood, remind you of how great you once were. Sound familiar?
Now, I'm not too sure if I totally agree about the charisma thing with John on that, because I find him incredibly boring, but I do recognise that other people will find him quite charismatic. And I also do agree, though, about he not getting enough scrutiny, but I also do remember his mauling from James O'Brien, and I bet he still wakes up in a cold sweat over that interview. But can you imagine if a councillor or an MP from the left had done a tweet like that about Hitler? Their feet wouldn't touch the floor, would they? And KGBBs and Sulk TV will never shut up about it. But because it came from someone from Refuck, they get a pass, don't they? But when he talked about the desperation, I think there's a little something in that. Now, if someone says they're on your side, they're a strong person, and I am your friend, you'll forgive them for anything, I suppose. Also, that quote is quite apt as well, isn't it? But what do you guys think? Is John right about Nigel Farage? Well, let me know down below. And if you enjoy everything, House of Commons, select committee meetings and anything political, please like and subscribe, and I shall bid you farewell and take care, my friends.